Okay, so upon test ride, have found a couple of issues. Quite certain I didn't get a good enough gap, my outer fairing along the top of the Shark Demon headlight. So at low speeds, I have a rattle. Once you get up to higher RPM range, kind of goes away, but it is quite annoying. So I will be taking the outer fairing off to make that hole a little larger. Also, smoked my clutch cable. Apparently don't have it routed properly and it's coming in contact with this bracket. So I am going to remove that. I will be getting a new clutch cable, but I want to see, I'm going to wrap some tape around that one. It'll look super sharp. But then I'm going to try running it through this hole with the electrical so that it can come out top where the electrical comes out, and then flip up this way. Hopefully that keeps it from coming in contact with the forks and getting squished and doing bad things to it. These are all kinds of things that you run into. Even though this is all Harley-Davidson stuff, this bike started an S and this is all an ST. I went out and looked at some STs. They have a hook that comes out from their triple tree on that other side there that kind of holds it loosely and keeps it where it's supposed to be. Since I have aftermarket triple trees, I don't have a threaded hole underneath here for that particular bracket that sticks out there, little wire hook basically that would hold your clutch cable in place and keep it out of harm's way. So since I don't have that, I'm going to try running it through the center there after I tape it up and ride that around for a while I'm waiting for my new clutch cable to show up and see if that, as long as that tape stays in good shape, I think I fixed it. But we're going to move along here and see what we can come up with. So like I was saying, we wanted to take this bike down so that we could adjust the headlight with the outer bearing on because it's kind of hard to see, but there's 4 screws on the side of that headlight and those adjusted up and down. So the basic rule of thumb that we've used through Harley-Davidson is we have a line on the floor. I know if you can see the floor, you don't believe me that there's a line on the floor, but there's remnants of a line on the floor that is 25 feet from that wall. And then when we hit our headlight in the low beam position, we also have a piece of tape on the wall that's 34 inches off the ground. You should be just a little above that on your low beam and then split the difference above it when you hit the high beam. And that's where we have it now. Before the camera was on, we were kind of punching it around a little bit, moving it up and down. We got it where it's supposed to be. A lot of times this is kind of a 2-guy job. Don't want it on the kickstand. You want it to sit on the bike, hold it straight up, and then adjust it that way. So if you have a flat enough, long enough garage, you could probably do this yourself. My garage tapers down. I don't know if I could get 25 feet from the wall before the ass end of my bike would be like going down the driveway. That's kind of what Harley recommends. 25 feet from the wall, your high beat or your low beam should just be a little bit above the 34, and then you'll love it when you get the high beat. That's how, rule of thumb-ish, it adjusts your headlight so you can see as good as you can without blinding it.
Another little piece of advice I'm going to give you about doing things on these types of bikes is you're going to get a lot of stuff that's painted or you took it apart and it's corroded. You're going to want to get yourself a set kind of like this. These are thread chasers. These are not taps and dies. I guess you could get by if you really wanted to be careful and use a tap and die. These are specifically designed for cleaning out threads. I've got a brand new fairing bracket on here, and I don't know if this is powder coated or painted. These threads are all filled up with, like I said, either powder coat or paint. Either way, it's not a great situation. So you just get these lined up. A lot of guys will even use, once they get it going by hand, will use a gun, kind of go in and out a few times. That works pretty good. I'm not in that big of a hurry on this particular project. I'm just doing it by hand. But yeah, you'll get all kinds of stuff. Gotten stuck to your bolts or made it hard to put in or got some dolled up or whatever the case may be. It's just a good idea putting this type of stuff back together. Clean the bolt, clean the threads. I've got brand new bolts that are going in here, but like I said, this bracket, whatever it was, painted or powder coated, holes in it were pretty gnarly. So that's another little nerd tip for you. Yep.
All right, so here's one part of this project that I'm not super stoked about. This is a brand new painted fairing. I actually just painted a Gunslinger's. John did it for me. And in order to use the Shark Demon headlight that I need, I'm gonna cut that out. So kinda wish I'd figured out that I was gonna do that ahead of having it painted, but you know, what are you gonna do? I think if I take my time, don't try to hustle up too much, I think I'll be fine. We're gonna give this a shot, see what we can do. I am going to see how effective this rotary tool is. This is made for metal. I'm gonna try to cut around it. I'm hoping that it cuts relatively quickly and that I could then just get close and get like a sanding drum to finish it off. But we'll see. We are about to, we're pretty much at the point of no return here. Well, as horrible as that sounded, went okay. Yeah, I think we'll just keep going from there and see what we can come up with. Trying to get the big parts off right now, and like I said, I'm gonna try to use a drum sander and go that way with it. I won't bore you with all this.
So we're definitely making progress. Got the two pieces of the inner fairing installed along the bracket on the brain. This bracket is support, also holds the headlight. This one is different than stock because this one is going to hold the Choppin headlight for an LP6 if you're doing Baja design. With that being said, I am going to cut the outer fairing. Kind of wish I realized it prior to having painted, but it'll be fun. Take my time, try to get the camera out so you can see those shenanigans, and we'll hope for the best. Also, as this headlight is hooked to the inner fairing and not the outer fairing, we will be adjusting this. We'll be taking this off the lift, adjusting the headlight's angle, so I'm not blinding anybody or I'm not wasting it by shooting it down the ground. We'll be doing that prior to putting on the outside fairing. All right, so I found out a little thing. Could be that this is just a cheap aftermarket bracket. It could also be, I've seen people before have problems. So it could be that this is just a cheap bracket that I bought online, but I've also seen other people have problems. This said it fit the LP6, which is Baja design. I'm using a Shark Demon. It seems that the holes in the side for the two screws are off just a little bit. So I'm gonna move this front hole a little bit forward. Should be tip top. Also, as this headlight is hooked to the inner fairing and not the outer fairing, we will be adjusting it. We'll be taking this off the lift, adjusting the headlight's angle, so I'm not blinding anybody or I'm not wasting it by shooting it down the ground. We'll be doing that prior to putting on the outside fairing.
So we made some good progress on the fairing. Did have to cut that hole out like we were talking about. Even had to do a little extra because I had some bolts in the side of it when you could see that headlight that were 12 point. So they were too tall to go through that hole in there. So I thought I would use the ones that came with the bracket. Well, I bought that bracket and it said it was for an LP6, which is a Baja Designs. This is a custom dynamic Shark Demon. The Shark Demon has an M6 1.0 screw in the side of it. Apparently the Baja Design has a 1/4 20. So I had to do a little looking and I found a screw for that. And I did buy some ARP screws for the inside of the fairing. Also, for some reason, Harley-Davidson designed those studs to be sticking through the fairing like that. So I bought 12-point ARP nuts to go on there because that just looked terrible. And the bolts for the tank and for the fairing bracket itself are also ARP. So we're getting there. I ordered a Clockwork smoked windshield that has not come in, and actually I found out was on back order. So I went ahead and ordered their yellow one. So that one was in stock, so I should have that here pretty soon. I've seen the yellow windshields on this gray bike before, well, on a gray bike before, and I didn't hate it. So that's what I'm gonna rock so that we can go to Sturgis this year and have a windshield. All right, so here's some more of the exciting stuff that can happen while you're doing these things. I just installed this fairing, just received the windshield, but I just noticed this as well. This side's turn signal is not operational. Should have a light on like that, like a running light, and there's, the turn signal part of it. If I go to this side, nada. So I'm hoping I didn't mess any of the wires up here because these are tiny little wires. So I'm going to pull the gas tank again. I'm going to see if I didn't get connection all the way in there. That's what I'm hoping for. But that's what happens when you're doing this stuff. Probably should have tested before I got it all back together. Nah, what are you going to do? Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it again.
All right, so I know you can't see me very well, but I went ahead and took the tank off because it's easier access. This is the area that I was trying to get to right here, where all your wires go into the frame. This is the area I'm hoping I made a mistake on. Okay, so our problem was indeed right in here. It seemed like it was plugged in good enough. I tested it, didn't work. So I took it out, pushed it back in there a little harder, I guess. Now everything's working. So that was the issue. I'm just super glad I didn't screw it up here. Those wires are tiny, and the mechanic that soldered those for me said that was not fun. So.
Here's another little tip for you. If you're doing handlebars, you have to extend your wires. They make nice wire extension kits. You can get them from Gorilla Cables. That's a good place to get them. But they make them in a couple different places. However, try to go put all these back in here. One of the things we always do before we take them apart is we take pictures. I see these guys who do this every day who are master techs. They still take pictures. They don't have to look everything up. But the other thing that we do is there is a cover, this guy right here, that covers this up. As you can see, there's a flat spot here on the back. This was a flap of material that came straight out, stuck out there about that far. It went in the middle of all that shenanigans right there. So cut that sucker off. It is not necessary, and it will make your life a lot easier. You'll be able to push this stuff into the hole a lot easier and get this installed without, blowing a head gasket. So anyway, another little Harley nerd trick. Kind of loosened everything so I could get it to move around. There's a lot of little pieces and parts that are going into this sucker. Just tried that. All that because that one there did not want to go in. So it loosened everything. Tried it again, and looks like we're getting her now. Gonna get her whipped. Guys are bringing in bikes for the end of the day, so you're gonna hear that. Very exciting stuff. And of course, some of it is because of my choice of hardware. Try not to use the Harley hardware, using ARP hardware. So I like it better, I like how it looks. It's a lot stronger. Massive overkill in most situations. Well, got on the fairing. Got lights that work. Got a horn that works, I hope. Horn. Yeah. Better go. And this one is change stuff around here on my screen, which is rad. Cool. Oh. Yeah, that side's working. I think we're tip top.